When you're ready.
We recording? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining today. This is a regular meeting on Tuesday, December 10th, and the time is 6:01. Will the clerk please take the roll call?
Commissioner Milligan,
Here.
Commissioner Murillo,
Here.
Commissioner Anaya,
Here.
Commissioner Brennan.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. All right, if you wish, please stand for the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings that you give us and the protection you provide for us. Please watch over our people. Please help us as we deliberate our decisions and do making sure that the town runs smoothly and effectively. In your holy name, we pray. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Okay. For the agenda, is there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Murillo.
I move that we remove item 9.3, discussion and possible action, use of book barn portable building.
Okay, is there a particular reason for that, or?
I don't think it's something that really needs to be talked about since we already discussed the solution for the police department.
Okay. Any other changes?
Yeah, of course.
Mayor, that particular item does need to be discussed, but not tonight. So if we could bring it back for a future meeting, that would be helpful.
Okay. Would it be better to bring it back after the first of the year, or?
That would be fine.
Okay. So item 9.3, bring back after the first of the year. All right, any other changes? All right, is there any objections to the agenda as is with the removal of item 9.3? Hearing none, we'll consider the agenda approved with the removal of item 9.3. And next is public comments. Can I have the sheet?
Brad's getting it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Eugene Barilla. Name and address, please.
Eugene Barilla, number 6 Detrius Court. I'm here to prop up District Number 5. I live in District Number 5, and I know that there's going to be discussion about the vacancy for the commissioner's position. District Number 5, I'm inviting you guys to come and visit. In fact, I'll ask in the audience and present tonight how many people are from District 5. We've got some pretty neat people down there. And we're probably one of the districts that are the least maintenance because over the years we've had citizens that took things up on their own. Our HOA is is very well run. Our expectations are good. I noticed that Roger Holden just arrived. Roger Holden is very familiar with the open space at the end of our district. So basically, we've been kind of low maintenance over there, and I hope that in your vetting for this appointment is that a candidate or an applicant from number 5 that lives there and could be from New Mexico would have preference. That's all I'm asking, is that a candidate living within the district receive preference of out-of-district candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Teresa Benton.
Thank you. My name is Teresa Benton. I live at 16 Blanco Drive. And I wanted to talk tonight, there's that old adage about if you're in a deep hole, quit digging. And one of the ways to do that is to prioritize the issues. And I wanted to make sure that we were all talking about the same issues. 2 meetings ago, the manager talked about an investigation regarding emails. And I have passed out some emails to you. The first one is from the Office of the State Auditor about problems that we've been having financially, that are they going forward? Where are these reports? We still don't have anything, audits completed under the new administration. The second page is from the Department of Justice. That's the Attorney General's office. And they made a very strong ruling, the meeting in Farmington, a violation of the Open Meetings Act. And there were things that should be done so that that doesn't happen again, as well as addressing the problem of being able to remotely come to the meetings via Zoom. The last page is the Department of Transportation, and this was a shocker to me that we're not getting money. This one talks about things that have not been done, that this project that would go at the end of the bridge across Bachelor Draw, you're in danger of not getting the funding for that. And if that's been resolved, great, but I don't want everybody to keep calling it a bridge to nowhere. I want to see those trails go in. The money was there. Lastly, there's a press release for District 5, that's us, October 31st, for the fiscal year ending 2025. Again, saying that Edgewood is not getting money. Farmington's getting money, Aztec, all of these other small towns. And we can't do what we need to do for roads and water without money. So I'm hoping you will look at this a little, prioritize, and we can kind of all work together on this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else that wishes to make public comment? Okay. All right, next we'll go on to the consent agenda. Are there any changes that need to be made for the consent agenda? Any objections to this consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll consider the consent agenda approved.
Thank you.
All right, matters from the commissioners. Commissioner Milligan.
I'll pass this evening.
Commissioner Murillo.
So I just wanted to tell everyone, thank you for coming out on this extra cold night. So it finally feels like winter's coming soon. I do appreciate all the constituents that have been shooting me emails and actually giving me calls. It's nice to have a change of pace and actually start being able to talk to folks and having those conversations. So I know I've had some very long conversations with folks, and I'm happy to do that. So again, if you have any questions or like just to touch base with me, my phone number's on the website and my email's there too. So I love talking to the constituents. So thank you, appreciate it.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Naya?
No.
Okay, what I've got for today is I had my NCRTD meeting last Friday, and we talked about the MyBlue. MyBlue is off and running. It's not quite getting as much use as we thought it would get. However, we have been getting a lot of requests to expand the coverage area of MyBlue. And I had that conversation with the staff at the NCRTD, and they are going to be looking at expanding out a little bit further, seeing that there's a lot of interest just outside the boundaries. So we're going to be looking at increasing the boundaries. We should hear something, somewhere after the first of the year. NCRTD does meet the first Friday of every month, except for July. There is no meeting in July. And their meetings are also available for the public to attend. So if anybody ever wants to attend a meeting and voice their opinions on the MyBlue or the Blue bus that goes between here and Santa Fe, you're more than welcome to do that. Also want to say that the Twinkle Light Parade and the Christmas tree lighting, it was a wonderful event, and a lot of people showed up, and I want to thank everybody that participated in the parade. This was the first real Twinkle Light Parade that we had, and I think it's going to, like everything else, when we do it again, it's just going to get bigger and better every year. And a special thanks to Jimmy Martinez for doing a fantastic job with that. Okay, moving right along, matters from the clerk, treasurer.
Okay. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, appointed officials, employees, members of the public, hello, everyone. It's me, Michelle Jones, clerk treasurer. Town Manager McCracken, first of all, I want to say she could not be here tonight. She has had some personal things happen, and she asked me to read this. She wants to let everyone know that she appreciates all the love and support from the town and the community. Thanks to the commission and staff for all their help. She wants to update the commission that we are going to be starting the process of appointing a deputy clerk. I mean, deputy chief. I want a deputy clerk. Speaking for myself.
Wrong
but-
deputy.
Yeah, deputy chief. I apologize. She is saying that on behalf of the chief. She is attending the city manager's conference right now until Thursday afternoon, and she just appreciates everyone. So, okay, and now for my update. I gave you all a copy of the current ICIP. That's the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, and I attached all the capital outlay requests. I just want you to know that I did follow through and I submitted those requests. I put some copies on the front table here for the public to see. Basically what that is we are asking Santa Fe for capital outlay money for our infrastructure capital improvement projects. I submitted for everything except the chip seal overlay because we have quite a bit of stuff right now. I didn't think it was fair for us to ask for more. And also, I did not submit for the community pool concept and feasibility study. I have until the 13th to get these submitted, and if you all think I should submit for that, I certainly can. Just let me know. We don't have to do a motion for that or anything because you've already given me direction. So just let me know now or after the meeting. I also gave you a copy of the capital outlay request form for the governor's office. This is a next level of capital outlay request, and you can see here that there's quite a few requirements for submitting that kind of request to the governor's office. I I have until the 20th of December to do a governor's office capital outlay request. I think a good candidate would be the water quality improvement facilities and water resources. You know, we had updated this title on the ICIP because we're wanting to acquire water rights. So this would be my recommendation. I think we should only do one if we do any, and I think it should be that one, so let me know. We are very busy. As you can see, as we go down the agenda, we are going to be approving these fiscal agent agreements with the MERCOG so that we can move forward with our funding. I'm spending a lot of time ensuring that we have our grant agreements in place, and I am in the process of requesting reimbursement for those capital outlay expenditures. That's really all I wanted to update for you right now, and I stand for questions.
Okay, we have any questions for the clerk? That thing you were talking about, the pool,
Yes.
as much as I would love to have a pool in Edgewood, we're not there.
Yeah, I think I got that feeling that when this was originally requested, there was a whole different staff, different town manager listed on the ICIP, so, okay. And what about this governor's office capital outlay request? Would you like me to move forward on this, or do you think we should wait?
For
year.
myself, I think move forward. Any
Yes?
I would concur.
Any
It
disagreement
certainly
on that?
doesn't hurt. Okay, I'll get that done.
Never,
and-
never hurts to ask.
No, it doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. And do you agree that that would be the best one for us to ask for? I think that's the appropriate item for this type of request. Okay, so I will get that done, and then I'll have that for you, just proof that I finished it, and for the public to have proof that these things are getting done at the next meeting. Also, I forgot, I wanted to update you that I am working on finalizing those ARPA fund obligations. I have until the end of the month, and it's a little bit of a process because we have to have a purchase order in place before I can go in the system and update it. I have the purchase order in place for the dump truck with the salt spreader, but I don't have the other ones yet, but that'll certainly get done in time before the deadline. I just want to let you know that I am on top of that. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. No other questions for the clerk?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Naya?
Madam Clerk, can you also send a request to Senator Ben Ray? He's the one that originally sent us the 1.5, 1.4, something like that. But we can always request for the same thing.
Right, I can certainly do that, and that brings up a very good point. We can request congressionally directed spending. I'm sure you're all familiar,
Yes.
well, and if you're not, brand new commissioner, when we are asking for federal funding from our representatives in DC, there's a form on their website that you have to fill out. It's different from this, and it's called congressionally directed spending. And it's the same thing, it's just at a different level. So I can, and I know how to do that, so I will certainly do that. Are there any other, it doesn't hurt at all to do those same requests of all of our representatives?
Stansberry.
Stansbury, Ben Ray Lujan, is that it?
Yeah,
Okay, would you like me to do both of those?
absolutely.
I think I should. Okay, I will do that. And again, I'll let you guys know that it's done when I get that done. And this is the perfect time of year to do that.
We have a new senator, Senator Ant Thornton. We should request it.
Okay, and Senator
Ant Thornton,
Ant?
Anthony,
State
Oh,
Senator.
okay.
state senator.
Okay. Oh, a state senator, Anthony Thornton?
Yes.
Okay. Now, a state senator, that's,
That'd be regular ICD.
yeah, that's regular capital outlay. But those fancy schmancies, that's this congressionally directed spending. So I will do that, Stansbury. Okay, and another update. When we go to Santa Fe to talk to our representatives, we're going to be talking about this capital outlay, the ICIP. And there's a municipal day where everybody goes and we chat and we stay and everything. But that, if you wait till that day, you're too late. So I'll try to reach out because I think really the time to go is probably in January. And I think the municipal day is in February. So I'll reach out and try to get us, maybe to just schedule us an appointment, a meeting, a firm time, and then we can go so that we're there before they make those decisions. Okay, I think that's it. Do you have anything else for me?
Third time's the charm?
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot, and I'm giving the rest of my time to Jimmy. As if I
Jimmy?
had more time.
Oh, he is here.
Yeah. He's hiding behind Brad.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for allowing me this time, Michelle. I just want to give out a shout out to everybody who's helped me these past few weeks preparing for multiple events that I had over the weekend. So from our Parks and Rec department to our Teen Advisory Council, we just want to thank everybody for joining us for this year's tree lighting event. Thanks goes out to all our runners and our parade participants. A special thanks goes out to our Town of Edgewood Police Department with helping us out. Our roads department, I asked them to do a lot. Our maintenance department, obviously our finance department for all the things that I needed to purchase. And for Paul for being our chauffeur for Santa that evening. Many volunteers had a hand in helping me set up. John, Trish, Diana Boyd, David, Brian, and Amy, Mike Morrow, Lauren Ashton, Shelley, Ramona Luna, and April Chavez all helped in the coordination of this event. I've also like to thank a few of the sponsors for the Reindeer Run, which was Pizza Barn, Route 66 Coffee and Boba, Walmart Superstore in Edgewood, Rax Building Supply, All Roads Cafe. Also to our cookie donors, Santana Lopez with Lucky 7 Baked Goods, Sosi, who actually, gosh, she must have baked like 3 different plates of chocolate chip cookies that were really good. Diane Nolan for providing the music, and for our Santa for stopping by too. I also want to thank you commissioners for participating as well and showing up to the event. I hope that everybody had a wonderful time, and I look forward to next year's Reindeer Run, Christmas Parade, and tree lighting. And like you had mentioned, Mr. Brennan, that I'm just hoping that it's going to get bigger and better. So everyone, again, if I miss your name, I really apologize, but everybody's been so supportive, especially the staff. So I just want to tell everybody thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Naya.
Madam Clerk, I do have a question for you. And that question is, I'm a little slow right now because I'm cold. So I'm not thawed out yet. You had mentioned that we're not asking for any money for chip seals. We always ask for that, no matter what.
Am I wrong?
'Cause if we
that
don't
have
ask
millions
for
of
it-
dollars of millings? Mr. Chair? And again, I can ask for it. I made that decision on my own, knowing that you guys, if you want me to ask for it, but I will tell you that we're already asking for probably 16 items. And I think we have millions of dollars of millings right now. And I made the executive decision to not submit that capital outlay. But I most certainly can, if you
Yeah,
would like me to.
Absolutely, that's it. I mean, when you don't ask for it, you're not gonna get it. You know, somebody may go down that list and say, well, you don't need the grader or something like that, but I'll give you it for the roads. Or they may say, we'll give you the grader, but you don't need the chip seal money for the roads. So those two work together.
I can absolutely do that if you all would like me to do that.
Well, yes, and
Okay.
besides, the chip seals that we have are mostly gonna be utilized for roads that we are not chip sealing currently. It's gonna be for just a base course until we can refine the millings, which is gonna take a tremendous amount of money to do that also.
We can do that. We can do that. And I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you, my experience has been that, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but people have to just get used to me talking, because I do speak my mind a little bit. Representatives are gonna look at our requests, and they're gonna say, well, I have to give a little bit to these guys, and I have to give a little bit to these guys, and I have to give a little bit to these guys. And sometimes, if you give them too many choices, you end up with the smaller request, because then they can still say that they gave you something.
That's exactly
So,
right, so therefore, that's
There's two ways
why-
to look at it. I wouldn't ask for it, because that's not something we need right this minute. But we could ask for it, and they could give it to us in lieu of giving us something else.
No, that's mandatory. We spent a lot of money on all this chip seal equipment. We need to utilize it.
Okay.
And we made promises to do.
I know, but don't we
roads.
have am I wrong? Do we have millions of dollars of chip seal?
About $7
I will
million
certainly do
worth.
it. There's no sense in me arguing about this. That is done deal. I will do that, sir.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Murillo.
Madam Clerk, I
can do that.
I understand your logic.
Yeah,
and
but I
that-
can do it.
And
I-
when you have a menu and when you go out to eat with somebody you don't know, you always order the least amount, right? You never order more than, so I understand your logic there. But I also do understand the other side of doing it, but
I do too.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem, and thank you, sir. I'll get that done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course, you can also look at it, they give us money for chip sealing we could get the screener to classify those 200+ thousand tons of millings.
That is why you guys are up there, to make those final decisions.
Do we ever get the estimate on what the value was? I came up with around 7 million in value.
It's not. Mr. Chair, it's not. It's, does somebody else want to answer this for me?
It's just probably under 3 million.
3 million?
Less than that, yes.
Because I know when we got the 40,000, we were told that it was valued at about 1.2 million.
So I don't have the numbers in front of me. Let me do the actual calculation and bring it accurately to the next meeting, because I think it's important to know that.
Yeah.
But I want to come up with the actual value. We know it's based on the tonnage, and we were valuing it at $24 a ton because that's what we paid for it last time we purchased it. So it's just a matter of multiplying the thousands of tons by the $24 per ton.
I actually have the number.
Oh, okay.
So Commissioners, I got this information from our roads manager, Josh Jantz, and he said we had 60,000 tons was
Okay.
the calculation.
Okay.
At 15 a ton, puts us right around 900,000 for the millings.
So he
So-
gave me $24 a ton originally, so.
And that was the value of someone that he had brought out to do
Okay.
evaluation of it. So that's a rough idea. Whether that equals what we would have to pay on the open market is a different question.
Right.
All right, so what was the
So-
total we got in the millings?
60,000 tons.
Okay, because the last time we were talking, somebody was saying 200,000 tons.
That's,
Well, that does not include the base course that we received, and
Right.
that base course has already been distributed. So it's now on East Venus. So we have utilized that already. This calculation does not include the value of that.
Okay. Commissioner, now you got something, or are you just thinking?
Both. Oh my God, what was I gonna say? Oh, you're talking about the $25 a ton on material. There's two different types of material we're talking, actually three different types of material. The millings that we have are millings that are not state certified. So therefore, the cost of that is tremendous less. Once we grind the material to a state spec, then we can utilize that for chip sealing. That's pretty much the way that process works. So we don't have the grinder or the sander, sifter or anything like that at this present time. So in the meantime, we still have to do our chip sealing as we promised, so we still have to ask for that. And then as time goes on, we can utilize the millings that we do have, and we can also utilize those on roads that are not going to be chip sealed at this present time. You know, it's a great base course. We have some roads that possibly be utilized for bus routes, for an example. And that's just something that you can, again, just try to keep the dirt down. Basically, is all it's going to do, and then keep the ruts to a minimum. So that's why I brought back originally when talking about the millings, is because, yes, we have it, but we have a raw egg, and we're not able to cook it yet.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm hungry.
Oh, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we done with this? Going once, twice? All right, discussion and action items. First one is for the public hearing on the amendments to the ordinance 2022-03, the cannabis Town of Edgewood ordinance.
Mr. Chair, did you skip matters from the chief?
Oh,
Yep, please.
actually I did, because you went and did the matters from the manager as well. Thank you. Matters from the chief. Lieutenant, you got stuff from the chief?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'm sitting in for the chief this evening. He didn't have anything that he wanted me to relay on his behalf. I don't have anything. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns for the police department, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay, any questions for the lieutenant? Thank you, sir. All right, now we'll move on to the public hearing.
So, Commissioners, we had a request to come forward with an amendment to the cannabis ordinance. As you know, this ordinance was adopted in 2022. It was one of the first ordinances that the new form of government passed. And it was required by state statute, and I think it's effective. It's limited it limits the number of cannabis dispensaries in the town of Edgewood.
Wait, he's starting to get into testimony.
No,
And it's been effective at that.
Excuse me, do we need to open the public hearing?
We will in a minute. I
Okay.
have a couple of comments I want to make first, and then I will advise the mayor. Thank you. So the ordinance has been working well, but we did come across a technical issue that we needed to address. But before we start on that, I just want to, if you would allow me, I do want to introduce Manager Dominguez. I think this is the first meeting you've attended. So we do have a new planning and zoning manager, Paul Dominguez. So if you'll stand, I just wanted to introduce him. He's doing a great job. And I really, he's taking some initiative. And just a quick side note, he reached out to the New Mexico Finance Authority this week and set up a meeting with them. And I thought it was a very productive meeting, and I think Commissioner Anaya, just so you know, he's the one who reached out to them. They didn't reach out to us. So that is, I think, I want to comment and applaud Manager Dominguez on that. So anyway, what we wanted to do, we do need to do a modification to the ordinance. So Mayor, if you would go ahead and open the public hearing, we can proceed with that process.
All right, we will now start the public hearing. The time is 6:36.
So, Mayor and Commissioners, the ordinance has one very small technical error in it, and we were not aware of this. I think the ordinance has served us well, but there was one section of the ordinance, and we weren't aware of it until an application came forward. An applicant wanted to operate a business under Section 13, which is cannabis manufacturing. Cannabis manufacturing is defined, those definitions are under state statute, but we have the municipality is allowed to create conditions for land use and conditions for the operation of manufacturing. And in the creation of that section on page 15 of 19, under section 13G, there is a reference to cannabis manufacturers other than micro businesses may only operate within M1 zones or commercial C2 zones if approved for conditional use variance. Conditional use is one definition under zoning land use. Variance is something very different. So the two things do not really go together. A conditional use is a land use function. It's where we place conditions on how, what is permissive within that land use. A variance is a physical exception. It typically has to do with allowing for a reduction in height or sign size or setback. So it's a physical standard, whereas conditional use is a land use standard. And when you put them together, it really doesn't make sense under land use law. So it's just a matter of that kind of being in conflict. I think the intent, and this is your determination, but the intent here is that if a property owner wants to use their property for manufacturing, it needs to be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and certain conditions may need to be imposed upon that land use before that it becomes permissive. I think that's the intent, and if that is indeed the intent, then to solve this, you simply need to delete the word variance from the ordinance in this sentence under 14G.
Okay. Then, correct me if I'm wrong, this thing we go, is any public comment on the,
Yes, you have to have public comment
Yes.
on an ordinance.
I just want to make sure I got the
Yes.
right order. 'Cause I didn't bring my cheat sheet with me. All right, is there any public comment that wishes to be made on the change to the cannabis ordinance? Okay, hearing none, we can continue on. So I believe my next step is discussion of the, all right, Commissioner Naya.
Mr. Chair, you and I were the ones that wrote this policy or
3 years ago.
ordinance. Yeah, that was one, this is like, as Brad said, this is one of the first things that we did do, which has been pretty successful. We see it what we receive in funds. I would like to just simply make a motion that we accept the change on the ordinance to delete the wording
Variance.
variance. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
To delete it.
Thank you.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, before we move to the motion for this, we got to close out the hearing, and then we move to the motion. Isn't that correct?
So, yes, you close the public hearing portion, and then you can have deliberation and motions.
Yeah,
All right.
I thought you did.
No, I didn't. That was going to be the next thing to do. All right, Commissioner Merrill, you going to say? Okay. All right, so if there's no further comment from the public and no further comment from the staff, we will close the hearing, and the time is 6:42. Now we go to your motion.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Naya.
I make a motion that we delete the word variance off of the ordinance in discussion for the cannabis, and that would be ordinance number 2022-03.
And if I may, just reference section 13, item G.
Let me get to that page.
Yeah, on the packet, it's page 72. On the ordinance, it's page 14 of 19 is where it starts. And the
Section
actual,
13, though.
yeah, section 13.
Actually,
And the part that's being changed is actually on page 15 and 19, which is item G.
item G.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion to go ahead and approve the removal of the word variance from the cannabis ordinance, section 13, item G. And it has been seconded by Commissioner Milligan. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Murillo?
So help me understand, I just want to make sure I understand fully before I make a vote on this. So conditional use and variance, one's a planning and zoning terminology
Well,
that really shouldn't be there?
No, they're both planning and zoning terminologies, but under land use law, a zoning is a use. So it basically defines what you can use your property for, what is permissive use under this zoning or under this condition. And so that's what conditional use is. It defines the underlying use of the property, whereas a variance, the typical variance is, let's say somebody wants to, we have a height restriction for building, and somebody says, you know what, I need an extra 3 feet for whatever reason. It's a hotel, we need another 3 feet. So I need a variance from the town standard. So it's a physical allowance from the norm. So that's what a variance is. So conditional use is what is permissive to be used on that zone, whereas a variance is a allowance to be different from a standard. So it's a physical alteration.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're two different things, and so if you say conditional use variance, what you're saying is, we're going to give you conditional use, but then we're going to take it away somehow because there's it's just a flaw in the logic of the way it's written, because they're two unrelated things. and you really shouldn't put them together like that. And what happened is we had an applicant who came in who specifically wanted to do that, and the applicant was very experienced in land use and is very knowledgeable, and we both came to the conclusion that this could be easily challenged. So what we want to do is we want to have statutes, especially in land use, that can't be challenged, because then we end up in a potential court litigation that a judge would look at it and go, well, what were these guys thinking? And this happens. We write laws and they're sometimes they're contradictory and we have to correct them. So this is just a minor technical correction.
Thanks for the clarification.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Naya.
as you can tell, we didn't use AI.
Oh, I could say something, but I'm not going to. All right, if there's no further discussion, we'll go to the vote. Since this is an ordinance, it has to be a roll call vote.
Correct. Commissioner Milligan,
Aye.
Commissioner Murillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Naya,
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan,
Aye.
motion carries. Thank you.
All right. I will say one thing, I mean, if that's the only really mistake you found in there.
Works pretty good.
Yeah, until you miss something. All right. So, that now takes us to the approval of the fiscal agent MOUs with the Mr. Cog action items.
Mr. Chair,
Madam Clerk.
these MOUs between the Town of Edgewood and the Mid-Region Council of Governments, who we refer to as Mr. Cog, are agreements that need to be in place so that we can move forward with these agreements. And what these agreements are, these are grant agreements. So again, we are actively looking at all of our grant agreements and trying to make sure that we have everything in place. We do have to have a fiscal agent at this time, and Mr. Cog is more than willing to be that fiscal agent for us. Once we get down the road and we get these processed correctly and we move forward with our finances and everything else we're doing, there's going to come a time when we don't need a fiscal agent, and that will be a good day. It's just a requirement for us for right now. So I am requesting that these fiscal agent agreements be approved as a whole, and these are already grants that we have in place. We just need this additional paperwork to move forward. And I stand for any questions that you have on these.
Has everybody had a chance to go over them? Anybody have any questions on them? Then I would like to go ahead and make a motion that we approve the fiscal agent MOUs with the Mid-Region Council of Governments.
Second.
And Commissioner Murillo seconded it. Any further discussion on this? This doesn't need a roll call vote, does it?
No, sir,
I didn't think so.
no.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that goes and pass, and we'll get those signed tonight.
Thank you very much. We are going to move forward on these. Thank you so much.
Okay, item 9.3 has been moved till after the new year, so we'll go to 9.4, discussion action on details for the interview and appointment of a new commissioner for District 5. Clerk Treasurer.
Mr. Chair, you do have a policy in place for a commission vacancy that is part of your packet. It's on page 116 of your packet. And per the policy, we have to follow the processes within. And I really thank Community Liaison Burke for bringing this to my attention and making sure that we're in compliance with our own policy. The pre-interview process, the first one, the town clerk will notify all governing body members immediately upon receipt of a resignation letter from any town commissioner or notice of removal from office or notice of death of any town commissioner. We did receive, not only did Commissioner Donner inform everyone at an open meeting that he was resigning that evening, but he did also supply us with a written letter of resignation. Once I received that letter, Community Liaison Burke brought it to my notice that I needed to formally inform all of you, and I sent that letter. So now, here's number 2. The remaining town commissioners will, in a public meeting, discuss and vote on details for the interview and appointment process. That's where we are today. And then the next step, each town commissioner at their discretion may choose to bring forward a candidate or candidates to be considered by the governing body for the vacant commission seat. The last time we did this, we asked for a letter of intent and a resume. So this is what we're doing right now. The commissioners are in a public meeting, discuss and vote on the details of the interview and appointment process. Do you have comment?
So the process should include a date if you want to interview candidates so that we can schedule those candidates. You may also wish to put out a notice to the community on social media, maybe in the newspaper, that we are accepting letters of interest for these vacant position. And once we have those in place and we've received any letters of interest and forward that information to the commission, then you can interview those potential candidates and be informed before you make your meeting, your appointment in a public meeting.
All right, I'll start off. I would like to see this advertised in the papers. I would like to also have it on our social media page. And I wonder if we should also go ahead and put it on over the radio. But that'll be for the commission as a whole to decide. Anybody else have any thoughts?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Romero?
I agree. I like the idea of making it more publicly known to people who may have an interest, right? I guess my next question would be the follow-up of actually reviewing resumes and talking to folks. Well, not talking to them, I guess that's the interview, but
Yeah.
at least being able to look at resumes, because it does have a portion where we can bring somebody forward.
So that would be, I would recommend to the commission that you choose a date that we could schedule interviews for. So we'll have a closing date on kind of the collecting of letters of interest and then schedule an interview date. So you may want to do that tonight. You may want to postpone and wait until we have received letters of interest after we've posted publicly to the community. But you may want to just give us a ballpark so we know on staff side what we're aiming for so that we can inform potential candidates of what they can expect the process to look like.
So for me personally, I think getting the resumes before we even make a date makes the most sense to me, and I imagine the date would be after the new year. I imagine people are taking off.
That's
Christmas
entirely
break.
up to the commission's pleasure when you schedule that for. But if we are going to put it on radio, if we are going to put it in the newspaper, which I can contact them first thing in the morning, it should get into this Friday's paper. We may want to run it for 2 weeks just to give ample time for people to view it. And for East Mountain Radio, same thing, I can get that in, should be able to be on the air next week. So we could have a couple of weeks run on that as well and get the word out to people. I know it's a busy time of year, but these are the ways that we have to reach out to the community. And we can also, of course, post it on our boards as well.
And technically, there's three newspapers that service this area, all right? We have our own, I'm not gonna say in-town area, which the Independent, Albuquerque Journal, even though they don't deliver anymore, they still service the area. Then the Santa Fe New Mexican also services the area. A lot of people are subscribed to those on their online, but I understand the ads also go, not only in print, but you go for the online.
Mr. Chair. Would you like to have I recommend a deadline with which you would receive resumes and letters of interest, but that's up to you. What do you think about a deadline that we could have written on our publication?
All right, speaking for myself, and everybody else can speak up if they've got opinions. This time of year, everybody's very busy. They're going a million and one directions at the same time with families and traveling. I would suggest that we put a deadline like 15 January. And that way, the second meeting in January that we have, we can go ahead and set up dates and then get into the interview process.
Commissioner, if I may?
You got something?
Commissioner, the first regular meeting of January would be January 14th. So we might want to make that deadline the 10th or the 12th, so that at your meeting on the 14th, you could schedule interview dates.
Okay, because I was just saying that schedule the interview dates on the second meeting of January. Because once again, I mean,
okay.
after the new year, people are starting to, come back.
Right, right. And I do understand. So
I want
the
to
second.
make sure everybody has a good opportunity and, not miss out, especially if they're right now traveling.
Right. Okay, and so if we do the deadline of the 15th, then at the meeting in January on the 28th, you would schedule interviews for a future date?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Naya?
I would much rather see this happen sooner than later, for the mere reason that it's to the town's best interest that we continue with the 5 commissioners, as we have voted that way, and we filled the last position like almost overnight. And I think that this one here should be just the same too. So you can advertise for the week that we need, and then we need to do it at our last meeting. So if we have to have a special meeting just for interviews, then that's what we need to do. But I don't want to see it go on.
And Commissioner, in accordance with the policy, you'll be interviewing in groups of 2 or less, so it's not done at a special meeting per se. You guys have the opportunity to do that in the town hall offices as long as we don't have a quorum.
Or phone.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Murillo?
I just want to clarify that our last meeting would be the 17th, right?
Yes, the last meeting of this
Is the
year.
17th,
Yeah.
so that's less than a week to, I imagine some people already have ideas of who they'd be interested in inviting. But I personally would rather get the community's comments as far as if you know somebody, you should refer them. If you think they'd be a great candidate, refer them. Speaking from my own experience going through the process, it's been hard. People don't know me. A few people know me, but not very many people knew me. So I think having an opportunity to actually get some folks in, look at their resumes, and being able to have an intelligent interview with them makes a big difference. And I also would want to make sure that we're kosher on the interview questions.
We have put together a list of recommended questions that we have prepared for you that you'll be able to review and modify if you'd like to, and we'll have them ready for the interviews.
Mr. Chair?
Minister Booker?
We're also recommending that you all discuss and decide how to use that list of interview questions. We are recommending that everyone ask the same questions and no other questions. We are recommending that that list of questions be the questions. That's how any interview for a town employee would certainly be. There wouldn't be questions outside of the listed questions, and each candidate would be presented with the same list of questions.
And I will say, we've drafted questions that we think will give you a broad perspective on the candidates, on the areas of interest that the community has, because that is the job, after all, to represent the community members. So you'll need to know what candidates think and what their interests are, what their focus might be as a commissioner. So we've tried to create questions that would help you to get that information from candidates.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Miller?
If you'd care to see the questions that we've drafted, we've got them.
I would love to see the questions. That was going to be my question. Can I see the questions? And I think appropriate for each question is being able to ask follow-up questions that are related, right? Can you expand on that, right? I know some people
Absolutely.
need that direction. I know me personally, I've interviewed hundreds of people at this point in my career. And then I do think a very important question is, what do you want me to know about you that didn't necessarily come out in the interview? I always find that to be the most deepest and important part of the interview, of people really having that opportunity to really talk about their experience, kind of a brag on themselves.
Right.
People are intimidated about bragging about themselves during an interview. In polite society, we don't do that, but in an interview, you should. So I would love a question like that towards the end, for sure.
We can absolutely include that.
Mr. Milligan, thoughts?
None at this point. Everything seems good to me.
I know the first time we went and did this, we were doing it for the very first time, and not very many other communities out there had any helpful hints for us, because with our former government, it was just a little bit unique. We may have rushed it a little bit more. We probably should have taken, look, hindsight is 20/20. We probably should have taken a little bit more time with it, and I don't think we even advertised the last time around.
No, it was not.
So, lessons learned as you move forward. Life is a ongoing learning experience. I don't want to rush this one. All right, we're at the end of this year, and I feel that trying to go into and trying to rush this to the end of the year is going to be a disservice for anybody out there who's thinking about throwing their hat in for this position. And that's why I wanted to move this out to the 15th of January, and then the second meeting in January for us to start, setting up the interview schedules and get that, because that gives us another week to go ahead and, another 2 weeks to get it done and get that person selected, get that person vetted by the town, and also be able, if they want to participate in the municipal league's municipal days, that they would have the opportunity to attend that.
Okay.
So,
And I might recommend, if the commission is so inclined, that as we are gathering the list of people who may be interested to submit for this, that on the agenda, that we have it available, those potential candidates that would be considered for interview, because that will allow for the community to have some direct input and feedback to you as you're making your decision as well.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Milligan.
that is definitely one thing I want to see on this go-around, is to get some public input from who's going to be representing the people. Ask some questions, get to know them, and kind of go from there. So they didn't have the opportunity to do that last time, but we work for the people, so we really need to put somebody in that they want to see that's going to represent that district, so.
I don't think it's. So you can give us feedback on this at a later time as far as these questions go. I don't want to rush the process, but we are, as I said, trying to give a broad scope of questions here that will try to address the areas of interest and concern that the community has. And it is a big job, and not everyone who may be interested in this job really has the skill sets to take it on. And so hopefully this will help people to get a feeling of what's involved as well.
So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we approve the commission policy 1.0 vacancy, policy 1.0 vacancy policy, and to set a deadline of 15 January after proper notification has been sent out through social media and through other media outlets.
Okay. And if I may clarify, this policy is in existence, so you don't need to approve the policy. We just need these dates and actions that you want us to do. Okay.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
You need to, Mr. Chair, point of order.
Yes.
You need to restate your motion.
Okay, so to restate the motion, following the commission policy that we currently have in place, that we set a deadline of 15 January for applicants, and that we direct the staff to go ahead and get the advertisement out through social media and standard media available to the town.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second.
And it's reseconded by Commissioner Milligan. All right, discussion. All right, hearing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll get the process going. We'll get people out there and get applicants to come in. I know 3 people have already made reference that they're interested in this, so that's a good start. But but there are also 3 people that are very involved with what's going on. A lot of people out there try to be involved, but can't always be as involved. I remember I was once in that position, and we'll see who we can get.
Mr. Chair, I just want to comment that, you know, when we do these interviews, it'll be a much smoother process than the last time. We had some lessons learned on that last one.
Like I said, life is an ongoing learning process.
Yes.
I've had mentors that have always told me, if you're not learning, you're dead.
We're very much alike.
And everybody here is definitely breathing, so. All right, so that goes ahead, and let's go ahead, and the next one is discussion and possible action on the 2025 road projects considerations. So I went ahead and put this in here. I mean, we've been working really hard trying to get roads done, and get through, but it's kind of been a mixed match of ideas and processes, and it doesn't go as smooth as it should. What I would like to do is to, one, the town needs to go ahead and identify the roads that are definitely under town maintenance, roads that are not under town maintenance, and those roads that are not under town maintenance, which roads are just in a subdivision that the subdivision never turned the roads over, or an HOA where the roads are supposed to be maintained by the HOAs. Once we have that list, also add to that list which of these roads are being utilized for school buses. Some of the roads that I've been told about that the school buses going down are in pretty rough shape, and that's wear and tear on the school buses, which is an added cost to the school district, and we don't want to be causing any damage to those vehicles. Also, because of the students that are riding on those, we can all remember when I mean, everybody probably rode a yellow school bus at one time or another in their life. As far as the suspension goes, there's not much of a suspension there, and you're going to feel every single bump. I did take a drive down Hawks Road and Windswept Road. I understand that is also a school bus route. There are some seriously large potholes in there. My vehicle has a dash camera on it and it has an alarm that goes off when the dash camera thinks I've been in an accident. Well, just going down that road, that thing went off of me 4 or 5 times, just hitting those potholes. So And then once we have this list together, we can go, we also need to go ahead and add to that areas that wish to have their roads taken over by the town, that we actually have a set process in place with exactly what requirements those roads have to meet, and to work with those neighborhoods to help them go ahead and meet those requirements. There's no sense of telling somebody, well, you need to make improvements to the road before the town takes it over. They go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on that road, and they come back, and nothing that they did actually got the road to the point to where it's ready for the town to take over. All right, we need to give them guidance. If that is as something as simple as our road department going down and talking with the people and whoever they contract to do work on those roads to make sure that the necessary work is being done, and that somebody's not making them do more than they have to, therefore not so they have to go ahead and spend more money than they have to. All right, we want to, and because even though even like the HOAs or some of these subdivisions that have private roads, they're all paying the same amount of property tax as everybody else. So we need to go ahead and, pretty much level the playing field and start identifying these roads and start working on them and, trying to get the roads up to snuff. Like I said, working on the school bus routes should take top priority.
Mr. Chair? Just
Madam Clerk.
just a reminder that the town has to adopt and own those roads before we can do any maintenance. Just a reminder. It's anti-donation if you're maintaining a road that that the town has not adopted.
Correct.
Just a reminder.
So Commission, what I provided to you for information purposes is the large map with green on it and red lines shows you the town's roads. So whatever is currently in red on there are actually town-owned roads. I also provided to you from the MESD website the listing of Edgewood roads that are on the school bus routes. And I've highlighted those roads that are within the town's limits. They may or may not be town roads at the present time. So,
I take it the times on here are the times that the school
the
buses.
times are the school bus routes.
okay.
I really did just take it right off their website to see where their bus routes are. And we haven't actually done any kind of an overlay with the town's roads to compare what are current town roads and school bus routes. But this information gives you an idea of how many roads and school bus routes we do have serving the Edgewood area. It's quite a few. So there will be, I would think, a fairly significant fiscal impact to the town if we were to adopt all of these roads and provide maintenance. So that's something that we would, I think the staff would like to have a little bit of time to evaluate that fiscal impact and bring that information to the commission too as part of your decision-making process.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Marillo.
So the one in the gray highlight on that's the roads they're using.
They're yellow on my copy, but they printed in black and white for you guys,
So the
sorry.
yellow ones are,
Those are school bus routes that are within the town of Edgewood. They may not currently be town-maintained roads.
let's see.
So they're within our boundaries,
To know.
right, and we need to assess which are town-maintained versus just within the town boundaries. And ideally, we could come up with our roads manager, we could come up with a scoring system that would allow an assessment of the roads so that we are consistently assessing roads across the board as we look at them and determining perhaps a condition rating for the road. And whether or not we bring them up to passable standards, town road standards, there's a lot of other questions in this equation.
Yeah, I mean, this is not something that's going to be settled tonight. In fact, it's probably going to take a couple of workshops also. But like I said, we've been piecemealing so much of this together because we've been, I mean, the past 3 years, we've been doing a lot of things in a lot of different directions, trying to get things, but we're at the point now where we actually have staff and we're able to do this. Now we need to sit down and make this, make sanity out of this craziness.
And we will have, we have been able to fill in the roads department staff. We've newly hired a couple of people, and if we were to take on additional roads, we would probably need additional staff as well as additional equipment too. So we'll have to look at the costs of those items and factor that into
Yeah, if
maybe
I-
a phased approach to taking on roads.
If I remember correctly, I know Josh was saying that he might need another, to do more roads, he needs another grader.
He does need another grader. And some of our equipment is rather aged. It was gently used or heavily used when we received it. We've used it for another 20-plus years. So we are going to need to look at other equipment and hope that what we have lasts a little bit longer while we hopefully get some ICIP money to acquire more of that equipment.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Naya?
Linda, are all of these roads that are highlighted, have you checked to see if any of them belong to DOT and their maintenance, and also Santa Fe County?
We've not done the assessment yet as to which of these roads
Okay,
are
but you-
town roads.
That's what you're looking into?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, I mean, obviously, we can assume that New Mexico 344 and New Mexico 333 are state roads. Beyond that, we'd have to determine which are county, or which portions are county and which
Yes.
portions are Edgewood. So it's going to take a little bit of effort to gather that information and be accurate.
Well, and then we also have some work done by BHI, Bohanna and Houston on roads. So, in your process of elimination or inclusions, you can look at that report that they made, and they did it by DOT standards for grading meaning A, B, C, D, which tells you what roads do need, what roads can be done at a later time.
Commissioner Naya, was that the report that was done in like 2018?
In the 20s.
It was 20-teen something. 18 sticks in my head, but it may be another.
It was around that time. It was the late teens, maybe 2020, but I don't think it was 2020. I think it was prior. And it was road conditions
I'm sorry.
report.
If that's the case, then the roads that have a 5 now have a 7. So, I mean, you could just advance the
Yeah.
number, so you could still utilize the work and still abide by the grades, the grading system that they had. So anyhow, my 2 cents.
Mr. Chair?
Madam Clerk.
We've also reached out to Santa Fe County to ask them what their policy and procedure is for maintaining bus routes. I know that counties receive, well, Torrance County, my experience was with Torrance County that every year they would receive or apply for and receive money strictly for the purpose of maintaining school bus routes. So I'm wondering if Santa Fe County has something like that, and if they just end where the municipality begins or not. So we're in the process of finding that out as well.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Naya?
Along that line with the school, you can also find that through PED. Public Education Department has lists also.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Merlo?
So I've been thinking about this for a minute, ever since you brought it up. I wonder if it doesn't make sense to have the road department and the police department collaborating on roads that are difficult, not only for the school buses, but emergency issues with law enforcement. There was one road I drove on, and it's not a road. It was a trail. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. But looking at this map, it's obviously not in there, so we're good there. But I wonder if that would make more of a sense, and I'd like your opinion on that, Lieutenant. If that's something that you all would be interested in, at least collaborating and giving your input to the road manager.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question correctly. Are you asking about like areas where that we frequent more often as far as law enforcement?
Areas that you frequent more often, or areas that you've noticed that seem a little bit sketchy as far as being able to get out there in the event of a snowstorm, a rainstorm? What kind of roads would you have to deal with trying to get to somebody, or?
Yeah,
it's not so
I
much
could
you
think
doing work, it's more
of
of a
quite a few, and
collaboration.
I could compile something for you if you'd like.
Yeah, like a prime example would be Horton between Nugent and Frost if it's been raining.
Yeah, if it's rained through there,
You're not going
you're
there.
not going to get through there. Yes, I could compile something.
Yeah, I was just thinking you guys are always up and down them just as much as the road crew, so.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Milligan?
do we know if Hawks Road and One Sweet Road, are those town roads?
Not yet. But they are school bus.
Just want to advise the commissioners, we do have a community development department, and when residents have concerns about roads, we're the ones they call. They don't call the manager, they don't call the police department, they don't call roads department, they call our department. And we coordinate with the roads department to try to identify those areas that really do need probably the most area of concern. We also we have established the road standards for the town of Edgewood in conjunction with the road department. And it is our duty as the development department to oversee that those roads do meet that standard, along with the road superintendent. There's a, so I appreciate what you're saying, but I think the police department's function is a little bit different. I think that really is more of a function of community development. We are coordinating with the roads department. We've been doing that for the last 3 years, trying to identify those roads that do need priority concerns. So I just want to make sure that you're, not forgetting that it's also a factor of economic development and development within the town. So if a developer wants to do a project in the town of Edgewood, the first thing they want to consider is roads. And what are the needs for roads. We also permit driveways within the community development department. So I just want to, make sure that you understand that we are out there every day looking at those conditions as well, along with the road department. So that is part of our function too.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we gotta start working on this. And there's a lot of roads. And I think this is a good starting point. I don't know if we want to go ahead and like attack it district by district or school bus route by school bus route. This is just an ongoing conversation we need to do, but between now and before we submit our budget for 2026, that we start getting all this information in, because part of our budget is going to be which roads are we attacking and which roads are we going to be improving. We got to come up with different ways for communities where the road is not a town accepted maintained road. Like I said, the process to get that maintained, for the town to accept that road. And I mean, I know a lot of these areas and the residents, I mean, they're not going to have the money to cough up front to be able to bring the road up to standards. We're talking a lot of money for some of these roads, because I hate to say it, but some of these roads, when the developments were put in, they didn't build very good roads in some of them, and those roads are deteriorating. So we need to start working with ways on how we can help those residents to get that road up to par. I know one of the things, when I was in Wisconsin, one of the things that they did out there is to improve a road, they would get the residents together on that road, and if they all, the majority of the residents agreed to it, they would actually have an assessment added to the property tax. And basically, it was that the town went and did the maintenance, and it came, like if it came out to $10,000, to get that road up, and I'm going to use the road that I lived on, we had talked to the town to pave the road, and they said, okay, they're going to pave it, and each resident on the road had to pay, I think it was like $8,000 or $9,000, and that was added to what the town was paying, and that was put on our property taxes and spread out over 15 years.
So that's what's called a SAD, or a special assessment district, or sometimes it's called a TID, or a tax increment district, or a PID, a public improvement district. But those are tools that are available to a municipality. You can utilize those. They're not very popular. So I would be, but I think you do need to look at what all tools in the toolbox may be available. Part of the problem, and I think I just want to bring this point forward because this was a point of discussion that we had recently. A lot of the concerns that we have with going forward with road improvement are affected by the utility systems within the town of Edgewood. So one of the other tools that we're looking at is what's called a franchise fee, which is every municipality in the state pretty much has one except for the town of Edgewood. And so it's a cost that's placed on the utility systems that are along their road systems, because they are using those road systems at no cost to them as far as utilizing that easement. There is a cost to the town of Edgewood for those utilities to be in ground in our road systems, and they're getting that for free. And in every other municipality in the state, they pay a cost for that. So it's something that we do need to look at that can create a real and significant revenue source, which is probably a more fair way to distribute that cost that you're talking about, rather than doing a SAD or a PID. If you do a franchise fee on the utilities, now it is passed to the consumers, but it's probably passed to a broader base of consumers than a SAD or a TID. But it's something that we do need to be looking at, because that's typically, that would be, because even roads that are not town-maintained roads are affected by those utilities, and those utilities, in most municipalities, pay for that privilege to be in those road systems. So that's just another tool to consider.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Murillo.
What would be the best way to continue this conversation? Obviously, I know I can't go to a P&Z meeting and things like that, but what's the best way for us to communicate to keep this driving forward?
Well, I think we just need to keep these kinds of discussions, and I think that the governing body level, what you're doing now in bringing these kinds of discussions forward at a high level is good, but there's a lot of detail underneath the surface. Just like there's a lot of gas lines and electric lines under the surface of our roads, there's a lot of detail under the surface of this issue. And I think, staff has done, has initiated some of these discussions internally, and we need to bring those. I think workshops are probably a good start on this, because we need to educate ourselves on this. But there's, I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but there is a lot of underlying issues that we need to consider when we get into roads. There's a lot of what we call private roads that aren't really private, and so they kind of have to be treated a little bit differently. Madam Clerk is correct. We cannot maintain roads that are identified as private, but what is a public road and what is a private road is not maybe what you think it is. So we need to understand what that means from a legal perspective and what we can do as a municipality as far as maintaining a private road. If it's a public easement, it can still be a private road, but it's a public easement, then we can maintain it. So those are the kinds of nuances that we have to get into. But this is an important discussion, and it really is probably the vital issue that we as a community need to be addressing. I mean, we kind of get caught up in a lot of distractive issues, but roads is really, for lack of a better way to say it, it's where we live, and that's where we need to be focusing. Your attention needs to be focused there, staff's attention needs to be focused there. And my bringing up the community development department is not to be, I just want to make sure that you understand that this is, all departments within the town, the maintenance department has functionality with maintaining roads because they deal with the vegetative overgrowth on the roads and things like that, and a lot of the maintenance issues that are not specifically road maintenance issues. We, as the development department, work with developers and new developments and redevelopment that we're doing. We're talking about doing an MRA in part of the town of Edgewood, which will mean a redevelopment of of an entire area of roads within the town. The other thing we have to consider is we have areas of town where we have substandard infrastructure as far as water flow and things like that, and we have to be able to bring those discussions into it. So again, I mean, we can identify specific roads, and we've done this over the last 3 or 4 years. We've identified roads that we needed to, and that people have come forward, our communities have come forward and say, please maintain our road. And we worked really hard and got those, identified a few of those, but there's a lot more. In fact, but we need to be holistic on this. What we don't want to do is say, what I think we have to avoid and make sure that we're avoiding is that there's any sense of favoritism, that we're saying, okay, we're going to, this neighborhood, for whatever reason, needs to get a lot of attention, and, that area over there, we're just kind of not worry about. We need to have some holistic concepts where we're doing this as developing our community in a real positive way and trying to do the best we can.
And what
Yeah.
was the name of the committee that you were referencing, the community development?
Well, no, it's a department. It's the community development department.
Oh.
So I guess what I would say is probably interacting with PD, interacting with road department, interacting with maintenance department. We kind of seem to be the central, the hub of that. So I just, the roads themselves are only one part of it, and so the roads department absolutely has control over how the roads are going to be developed, but community development, NPD, and everybody else, I mean, the roads are there for a reason. They're there to function for the town and be the arteries of the lifeblood of the town, and so it's not just putting gravel on the roads. There's a lot of other aspects to it, and utilities are a big part of it. Fire flow is a big part of it. Emergency access is a big part of it. So,
Right. So I personally think maybe we should consider making a monthly workshop of just talking about roads before regular meetings as a part of it, so that we can invite who needs to be at the table to give us input, so that we can start giving direction to the town manager, so we start giving direction where, how to start moving things. Because the more we talk about it, and actually as a group and collaborating, the more we'll get done.
Yeah.
And this is the first time
I don't think you can talk about roads too much in this community.
Right. So, I mean, but since I've been here, I don't recall us ever really talking about roads in the past 4 months. I think we need to make it a regular workshop for us personally.
I agree.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion that, for the foreseeable future, the second meeting of every regular commission meeting, that we have a workshop to talk about roads.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Milligan seconded it. So The motion is to go ahead and have a regular workshop on the second meeting of each month to discuss roads, made by Commissioner Murillo and seconded by Commissioner Milligan. Do we have discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Milligan?
we promised roads. Let's get these roads done.
Yeah. And when you go ahead and promise stuff, you got to make sure you have a plan in place, because if you make promises without a plan,
Just wishful thinking.
yes, that's what it is.
Mr. Chair,
Lieutenant?
are you gonna want the presence of a representative from the PD, just so I can make sure and pass it on, so either myself or the chief is present at those?
Say it again?
Are you gonna want a representative from the police department at one of these, at these workshops, just so I make sure that either?
Okay. I didn't hear the represent word.
Right.
That would be helpful.
Okay,
I'm not going to say mandatory, but I would say it'd be very helpful.
When available.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so getting a roads plan in place and start working it, the first workshop we can go ahead and discuss it was just start working it district by district. And make sure we start, like I said, school bus routes, the worst conditions. And we just start working that into the priorities and start working on that. I know Josh is going to love us, but
Mr. Chair,
clerk.
I will make sure to put a capital outlay request for chip seal so we can do those roads.
Yes.
That's my part. I'm on it.
All right, so that's going to be our first step. Any other discussion?
I really am. I mean it.
Commissioner Nye, you thinking, or are you good?
What was the question?
Any further discussion? I thought I saw you lean forward a few times. I didn't know you were going to talk.
No, I was just thinking that, that we continue to talk about roads. We talk about them a lot. And we even have a plan to get roads done. And the problem that I have is that we need to make sure that we are 100% staffed to do what it is that we promised to our community. And that's just on roads. That's not the rest of the stuff that we have promised that we were going to do. But since we're on the topic of roads, we need to continue to manage what it is that we say we're going to do per year, per budget year, and make sure that they do get done. That's my 2 cents. And I think that, I have another 2 cents. You're right that planning and zoning is one of the key departments that we should be able to figure out with the other members of the committee or the other staff members that are willing to work with Parks and, not Parks and Rec, well, yeah, them too. So that we get this done. I totally believe that this is a priority. This is what they made it loud and clear. They want roads. So, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
And the other thing too, by being able to actually put a road name onto the budget, this road will be done in this year, and the money is set for that road.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am foreseeing the new budget having all of our capital outlay projects listed, the in and the out, and the DOT projects. That's a goal, for sure.
Okay, so we have the motion to start having the workshop on the second meeting of every month. It has been seconded. Is there no further discussion? We'll move on to the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're going to have road workshops.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner
I
Naya?
have one other thing. Manager, Madam Clerk, when you do the ICIP, we can't put chip seal. It has to be road maintenance. When you put that in there, okay?
All right. All right, so now we're going on to the re-signing former Commissioner Donner's liaison roles, and I believe that's what the clerk just passed out to us. And also any other committees and agencies.
So in the process of looking at former Commissioner Donner's liaison roles with different organizations or advisory boards, I realized that I don't think Commissioner Powers' roles were ever reassigned. And so when Commissioner Milligan joined the commission and Commissioner Murillo joined the commission, I don't think that they were given the opportunity to take on these different roles. And so I've given you a list of Commissioner Donner and Commissioner Powers' responsibilities of with different advisory boards or organizations that they represent the town at, and as well as what I believe the other commissioners are currently handling or have been responsible for. So you may want to evaluate this and do it at the organization meeting at the beginning of the year and just assign everyone at the same time. But this gives you some opportunity to think about perhaps what roles you might like to take on, working with which advisory boards, maybe your areas of interest and so forth. But it's up to the commission whether you'd like to do any of that tonight or not. I just wanted you to have the information.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Murillo?
So informally, I've been doing the Parks and Rec.
Okay, thank you.
So I definitely volunteer to take that on. And then personally, I would be interested in the legal liaison as well.
I might suggest now that we're going to have an emphasis on roads, that there may be someone who's assigned as the liaison for the commission that attends additional meetings that may be with the roads department or with the engineering contractors, et cetera, so that they're more knowledgeable and can bring that information to the commission meetings.
Yeah, I think that's something that will definitely come up as we get those workshops really going. That will be super important then.
Okay, so looking at, former Commissioner Donner's list, the Economic Development Advisory Board, that's, for lack of a better term, an in-house board, but the area is an external board.
Correct.
So we need to make sure that we do have a representative to go and show up for those meetings. I've gone to a few of them, just because I was invited as position of the mayor, and just to show up for the town, but we should definitely have a person that is identified.
And we could do this on a temporary basis until such time that you assign all of these roles. Area is the Albuquerque Regional Economic Development Alliance, and it is an important organization for us to participate with, especially as the town is trying to take on additional projects like roads. Funding is going to become even more and more important to that process. And we miss information when we don't have people attending meetings. The town misses out on having important information or networking connections that are valuable to the community. And that's the reason these roles have been divided up amongst the commissioners.
Commissioner Milligan, since you're already on the Economic Development Advisory Board, would you like to take on an area?
I could definitely look into it and get back with an answer on that. Just depends on how much of a commitment it is.
Okay, that's fair enough. Think you can find out by our next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that is very productive there. Okay. Commissioner Naya, you're on the Estancia Basin Water Planning. Does that also work with the Resource Association?
It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay. So we can consider you're the person.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Morrell.
is there an Animal Welfare Advisory Board, or has that been disbanded?
There's
We're-
not currently.
Yeah,
Okay.
not right now, but it will come back.
Okay.
So let's see here. You want to work with Parks and Rec?
Yes. And legal liaison if possible.
Okay. So Commissioner Morrell is going to go ahead and be the, work with Parks and Recs, and he also wants to do the legal liaison, so that, anybody, unless anybody has a problem with that, I think that's a good idea.
I have no problem with it.
I love volunteers. So that pretty much covers all the important stuff there on that one.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, you're also going to have another commissioner in a month or so, and so
then, yeah,
some of
we'll
these other,
Divvy some of this up.
yeah, yeah.
We'll let them do the roads.
Oh, yes, throw the newbie into the fire. All right, anybody else got anything for this one? I think that we're good on that.
Do you want to do a motion or no?
I don't think it really needs to be a motion, it's
They're just volunteering.
Commissioner volunteering to take the position.
Okay, perfect, okay.
All right, so that's going to take us to the appointment to the Library Advisory Board. Miss Burke, how you doing today?
Brandon's been here for the whole
It's almost
meeting.
Christmas, you know, it's my favorite time of year.
So for our library advisory board, we have three positions that their terms are ending on December 31st of this year. So two of those are regular positions, one is an alternate position, and we received a letter of interest for one of the regular positions from a community member, Diane Meitzler. So that is the letter of interest that is on the agenda for tonight.
Okay.
Should be in the packet.
Do we get a copy of the letter of interest?
No,
Should be in the
I don't have it.
Diane is here if you would like to ask her questions about becoming a potential board member. If-
Well, yeah, definitely, come on up and introduce yourself.
I don't see it here. Shoot. I can go pull it up and print it, but.
You just bend it down to your, yeah, there you go.
Okay. My name is Diane Meitzler. I have lived in Edgewood since 2005. I am a retired nurse practitioner. I worked for the VA and Presbyterian, and now I volunteer at the library on Tuesdays and helped start the pet therapy program with my dog. I bring the dog in now on Tuesdays when I volunteer and Wednesdays for story time with the kids. And it's been a very successful program. So I've always loved the library. I volunteered when I was in high school. I see the library as a community hub and kind of want to help the library keep progressing.
Well, that answers the big question, is why you want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is great to have people like you that want to volunteer and put the time and effort in for the town. It is greatly appreciated. I know I appreciate it.
Well, I enjoy learning that I started going to the advisory board meetings just because I was interested in the mechanics sort of the library, how it works, how it's integrated into the town, how the town uses the library for community purposes and the integration of it. And I just saw an opportunity to be a part of the community and a part of the library.
Well, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
No, Mr. Chair. Do we need to take an action on this?
Yes. Mr. Chair, yes. And Diane, I just want to thank you for patiently sitting there and waiting while we got through this whole meeting. I appreciate you so much. And can you give me the correct spelling of your last name?
Sure, it's MEI, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, LER.
I'm so glad I asked you. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Merlot?
So was there anything in your letter of interest that we didn't get a copy of that?
The letter
Or
of
was it
interest
the gist of
pretty
what you
much
said?
stated what I've already
Okay.
stated, that, I help bring the pet therapy into the library, that I've been interested in the library as a community project, and just told a little bit about my background.
And what do you hope to bring to the board?
Actually, sort of just more ideas to help the library in their pursuit to expand, to grow. The one thing I did bring to the board was asked if we could introduce the pet therapy for story time, and bringing the dog has been very instrumental. The kids have really responded to it, and that's why I started bringing him on the day that I volunteer. So I think we could have used him for your community meeting to help alleviate some of the, he's very calming, so he's come in quite, he's been very beneficial, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Milligan?
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Miss Diana, sorry for your last name, I didn't catch it, to the Library Advisory Board.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Like I said, we love people that want to volunteer, they're anxious, they're ambitious, and sounds like you've already got a lot of ideas going in your head to bring to the board. That's wonderful, and I appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, welcome to the board.
Yay, wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you again. Thank you again.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the organizational chart. This is discussion only. And Liaison Burke?
Thank you, Mayor. Staff has been working on the concepts of where we need to go to try and do a little strategic planning on our staffing needs. We know from talking with other communities around New Mexico that are of similar size that we have been very understaffed, and we've been working towards adding positions. So this chart, James, could you put the chart up on the board for the audience to see? This chart shows not only additional positions, it shows additional structure. And the reason for that is that when you bring people into an organization, if you have a very flat organization as we had previously, there's no growth opportunities. Their only growth is to leave our organization. So we spend time and money training people, and then they move on to another government entity where they move up to another position that we never had. And so I wanted to create an organization chart that showed those career paths where we can bring people in different various roles, maybe starting in administrative assistant or as a technician position, have the opportunity to move up to a specialist position, which are those light blue boxes on the org chart, move into management, which are the purple boxes, or on the printout, they look more blue, and then director positions, and so forth. So this will help the town to have less turnover in the long run because people have an opportunity to advance in their careers. The other thing that we're doing is we're organizing the town in a way that has better opportunities for direct accountability and direct management from the director level position specifically that would oversee several departments. Currently, the way we're structured, the town manager is responsible for overseeing everything. And that's not very tenable for an organization that's growing, that has as many projects going on as we do. So in this regard, the town manager would be responsible for directly supervising the directors level positions, and then those directors would supervise below them. That would help to streamline the process and make access to management and the needs for decision-making a little more accessible to the other departments as well. Town Manager McCracken, her time is spread extremely thin, and it's not always possible to get a meeting with her to ask a question that might be something a manager or a director could approve and move forward and not take longer on. So that was the thinking behind this. And you can also see the relationships between the different roles. Solid lines are direct reports, dotted lines are indirect reports. That means there's a necessary working relationship there, but not supervisory in nature. So anything on this chart that has a red dot shows as an indicator that we're adding a position or positions. For example, you'll see under the Public Works division that we currently have 3 maintenance technicians, and over the next couple of years, they would like to get to 5. So on the charts that I gave you also, you'll see that we have the current count for 2025 of approved positions, which we are not all filled, but are approved at 71. And we would hope to add another 11 positions in fiscal year 26, which would bring us to 82, and then in fiscal 27, 10 positions, which gets us to 92, which gets us almost to the staffing level we're supposed to be at for the size of community that we have. It's a slow-phased process because we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that would allow for adequate training, for really responsible recruitment of those people that are qualified. The town has a history of recruiting people that fill a job, not necessarily can do the job. And so we have had turnover as a result of that as well. So we're trying to make very informed decisions as we're doing recruitment now and moving the process forward. You can also see on this chart that I've done some estimates of what the cost of these additional positions would be. Again, it's really important for us to be managing our fiscal load and know that we can take it on before we approve those jobs to be added to staff. Also another reason for economic development being an important piece of our view into the community of what we can bring into the town, and also through grants and having grants managed well and being able to apply for more funding through various sources, whether that be state or federal or other types of grants that may be available. So I wanted to bring this forward so that you have the opportunity to think about it and study this chart and be able to ask questions over time. I'm not seeking to have this approved tonight. We're not bringing it forward for that. We're really just bringing it to your attention that this is something we've been working on since July. You have a current org chart in place that was adopted in July that showed some growth that's allowed us to have this growth in 2025 fiscal year that we're currently in. To date, we have added, let's see, I think we had 7 positions. The ones in red are all new, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So 8 positions have been approved for fiscal 2025. We have not filled the deputy police chief. We're just going to start that recruitment process soon. We have also not filled and have not posted yet for community services director or public works director. The other positions that you see in red, finance assistant is currently posted, may become finance specialist. IT specialist is currently posted. The executive assistant position, we are very fortunate to bring Kelly over from the court, from the municipal court. She's doing a great job in that role. And of course, Brad Hill filled the community development director position. And we have a new animal technician over at the animal shelter. So we're making steady progress. We filled a lot of jobs in the last 6 months, and we still have a few more to go. The grants coordinator position is one that we're actively working on, and we will be bringing in someone on a temporary basis for up to 6 months while we continue to recruit. Again, we want to find the right person to fill the job, and that's a fit as far as skills and cultural appropriateness. Do they fit into the town's culture? Do they have an outlook of positivity? Are they here with a service heart? Do they want to serve the community? Those are all very important elements to what the town needs, as well as maintaining longevity with our staffing. Sorry, that was really long-winded, but if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
So, Linda, on the one like where it says heavy equipment operator 6, and it's got the arrow to 9, you have 6 and you want to expand to 9. Is that what?
That's correct, and I
Okay,
believe
just
we're
want-
adding that in fiscal '27 is where we're targeting that additional increase. And on the spreadsheet, you can see anything that's in italics means we have not filled that position. That's a proposed position or not hired yet. And so that's where we're looking at, because we did just hire 2, and I believe a third is about to be hired as well.
Yeah, we did hire 2 heavy equipment operators, and we are in the process of conducting interviews for the third. So that should be done soon.
And we have, my Thursday all day is pretty much scheduled with interviews for, which was IT specialist. For that day, we've done some grant coordinator interviews already and have more scheduled for later this week. It does take time once we actually make a selection, then we go through a background check process, which generally is taking anywhere between 3 and 4 weeks to get clearance on people, which is important because they're handling, some information is personal to residents, some information has financial responsibilities and so forth.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Milligan.
thank you so much for the hard work you put into this. I know it's been a work in progress since July. So I'm glad to see the future, like, and vision of going into 27. So excellent work, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Murillo.
I have a second what Pat just said. Out of curiosity, when you're interviewing folks, how many candidates, have any candidates been lost because of the turnaround time to go through the background checks and things like that? Just out of curiosity. I think
We
it's a good
did
idea.
have one candidate that we thought, we did not want to hire for the position that she had applied for, but we thought she would be excellent at an other position that we had. And in that time in between, saying, okay, thank you, but we're not hiring you for this, and being able to get to her and say, we'd like to consider you for this, would you consider applying? She had accepted another job. So indirectly, yes, and I will say that we've had, on a couple of 3 occasions I can think of, that people have applied for one position, and we've thought so highly of them that we considered them for another position and asked them if they would consider that role. And we've been very successful. We've filled 3 positions that way as well. So I have a recruitment background, and so those are things that I'm really aware of, and Michelle as well. We tend to go back and forth a little bit on our evaluations and find that path where we think someone's a really good fit.
Mr. Chair, I just thank you also. I just want to lend also my thanks. This is outstanding work. And yeah, Paul Dominguez is one of our people that we interviewed for one job, and we were like, oh, but this job. And here he is. Christina Wallace was another that we interviewed for one job, but we ended up with another position for her. So we keep that open mind. And I did also want to say that we have interviews scheduled for December 19th for another position in our finance office. So there's a lot going, but we are very careful to try to hire the right candidates. It's going very well.
I'm sure you've seen all the new faces around Town Hall. And so far, I can say we are extremely pleased with the new hires we've had this year.
Well, I know over the past 3 years, our organizational chart and our staffing has changed tremendously, and for the better.
When we were
This is fantastic.
When we were looking at other communities, Aztec comes to mind specifically because they are a form of government as well as our same size. They do have a couple of things that we don't. They have a jail there, and they have, is it a magistrate court? They have a couple of elements that we do not have in our town, but their staffing is over 120 people. And so if you take out the few people that are needed for the departments that we do not have, we should still be over 100. So we're making a slow, targeted effort to get there. And as the town continues to grow, that demand is also going to grow, but we'd like to get closer to adequate staffing.
Yeah, when you have adequate staffing, then the services to the people are improved, and they get the services they need when they need it. And
Exactly.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Riddle?
I think you brought up a really good point about adequate staffing. Being the new guy, did you all have a number at some point of what you should be at? I know you said somewhere around 100, but is there a specific number where we should be at?
There's not a direct formula for it per se. Each community is going to be a little bit different. So we can just look at other communities of similar size and look at what their staffing needs are. I feel like, and this is just a gut response, I feel like our actual number is somewhere close to 100. It may not be at 100, but I think once we're in the 90s, we're going to be in a really good place as far as what we need. And each department continues to grow, and right now, it's wonderful that we have our new library advisory board person who's volunteered, that she comes in and volunteers for the library. That department in particular could not operate if it did not have volunteers. They have regularly scheduled volunteers that come in every single day to help run the library. And I believe they're currently at 10 or 11 regular volunteers in that schedule. If we had to staff for that, we would need to add that number on top of these numbers that we're giving you. So we really do, and the town has grown and thrived with volunteers over the years, but we've gotten to a place where it's not always possible to manage town departments or town needs with that. Parks and Rec, Jimmy is a solo person in his department, and he has managed to utilize volunteers very well. And in the summertime, when we have the YES program, we bring in temporary staff for that. So we're trying to be very fiscally responsible in what we're doing, but at the same time, we know that we can't always leave one person to run everything in a department all the time. So, those are the things that you'll see in here. You can see a Parks and Trails technician. That's a piece of the Parks and Rec department that is not able to get as much attention as events because Jimmy's putting on these great events. And the wastewater treatment plant. We need a technician over there. Right now, Mike Garcia, who runs that department, he is 24/7, 365. In the last week, I can't even tell you how many hours of overtime he's had to put in to work on changing screens and membranes over there. And that also requires him to bring somebody in from the roads department because that is his backup. So if he had a technician in that department, he and the technician could work on that, potentially during regular business hours instead of after hours. And there would still be times when after hours are necessary, but it wouldn't be as frequently as it is now.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. Obviously, I think Mike definitely needs another guy pronto. I know who's backing him up over there. That's, we're asking double duty from somebody that we shouldn't be asking. I just want to make the only reason I asked that, what our general number should be, is because I do want to avoid situations where we do put people in there that aren't necessarily going to be utilized full-time. So the temporary makes sense to me. And so that's why I was curious about that. It wasn't so much against people being brought on. It was
Yes.
more of like, we don't want to bring on so many people that now people don't have anything to do and just collecting a paycheck.
Exactly, no, it'll be a long time before we're in that position.
Mr. Chair, and to that point, I really appreciate that Community Liaison Burke has done FY '25, FY '26, FY '27. It's a very methodical increase, and it has to correspond with our revenues. So I really appreciate that it's going in this path, and because I'm still, getting my hands around our budget, and when we start planning for FY '26, we can look at this again and just make sure that we aren't, growing our payroll faster than our revenue. So we are very aware of that, and we kind of looked at that the other day. We looked at GRTs and we looked at monthly payroll, and we're in a, I'm afraid to say it, but we're in a good spot as far as that ratio goes right now. But we are definitely going to be keeping that in mind.
And I will say that we did look at for the next 2 fiscal years. If we were to continue with this kind of growth, will our numbers still work? And it appears right now that they will. That's something we're going to look at further in the budget process that's coming up.
Okay. Anybody got anything else on this one?
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Keep it up. All righty. So future meetings here, we've got on December 17th, 2024, regular commission meeting, and then January 14th. That should say 2025.
Oh, my gosh. Mr. Chair, I just want to say that we will add a workshop to the December 17th meeting to talk about roads. And that other one, just January 14th, is 2025.
And Commission, you might want to consider a special meeting a little bit earlier in January so we can have an organizational meeting for the year. Otherwise, it will be nearly a month between your last meeting in December and your first meeting in January.
Mr. Chair.
Good point. Commissioner Arillo.
For the workshop, maybe not next week, because we just talked about it.
Thank you. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Y'all heard him. No workshop.
Look at the calendar here. Oh, that's why it's weird, because January starts off on a Wednesday. That's what throws it off. Would anybody have a problem in moving the meeting on the 14th of January 14th to January 7th? Commissioner Morrow?
I can do it.
Commissioner Anaya?
Ask me on the 6th.
I can do the 6th.
That could work.
Okay. All right, let's move the 14th to the 7th. All right, future events. We got the Stuff the Bus food drive coming up here on December 14th, and that's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be over there at Smith's Food and Drug. And also on December 14th, the holiday ornament decorating. And that's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. over the library. Yes, Mr. Martinez, the man of the day.
We do have another event going on. It's a toy donation that's happening this Saturday. That will be from 1 to 4, and that will be here at Town Hall. It is Sirens with Santa and Friends. It's hosted by the Santa Fe County Fire Department volunteers. We'll also have Santa here as well to greet the kids.
Okay, I'm going to assume that you're asking for toys still in the package, or is this also
Yes,
lightly used
toys in the
or-
package, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, does anybody have anything else that need to get out? All right, just a reminder, it's going to get cold tonight, so make sure everybody's ready for it.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Milligan,
motion to adjourn.
have a motion to adjourn, is it seconded? All in favor of adjourning? Aye. And it is 8:16. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.